Hello punters and welcome back to another Saturday racing preview. Of course, this week we're looking at the Caulfield meeting, Blue Diamond Prelude Day, and also the Group 1 CF4 Stakes, which we are really looking forward to getting some great racing kicking back off. We did really well last week in our resuming video, found plenty of winners both at Randwick and Caulfield, so we're hoping to continue that same sort of form leading into this week and then furthermore into autumn with plenty of good racing coming up. Going to get straight into the card tomorrow at Caulfield. Race number one's starting at 12:35. It's an 800 metre race. Some decent quality going around here, especially if you're resuming, looking for the further distances, perhaps targeting a Sydney Cup in the coming weeks. Looking at the speed map side, no commitment. Tory Joy usually fires out to the front. Von Mask will be up close enough to the speed, and I'd say Ryan's Fender won't be too far off either, with the likes of some of the top market prospects in Sir Pippin's, King of Leah Grants, Venice Beach and Street Chic dropping towards the rear of the field. For me, this first race, look, I'm going to lean with King of Leah Grants here. Came over here with a big wrap behind it. Danny O'Brien now takes over the stable. Of course, a lot of the Lloyd Williams runners were with Liam Howley last year. They're now with Danny O'Brien. I think this horse has a very good record first up. Also at the distance, I'd see it doing something similar to what it did last preparation, where it came to Caulfield over 1600 metres, really flashed home late, put in a great effort there, then went to Moonee Valley over to the Cox Plate distance, 2040 metres, finished third on that occasion to the Flying Kentucky Breeze. So this horse was in some good form coming in last preparation, first up in its first two runs. I think it'll be ready to go here again. 1800 looks like a suitable distance. It's had two runs this sort of distance range for a win and a placing. So I think first up, which has great first up stats of two wins and a place from three first up runs. So I think it's a great value at the $6, and I'm going to have it on top. And number 5, Street Chic, who's been really performing well at the Country Cups as of late. Obviously won the Great Western Cup last start at the 61.5 kilos. Prior to that, won the Terrain Cup and then finished second at Caulfield and Warrnambool behind the likes of Saloon de Javal and Exasperate. Don't think it's good enough to beat King of Leah Grants, but I think it'll be definitely flashing home from the back, especially if they go at a decent tempo up front. Sir Pippin's been running, getting closer to a win, and I think it'll really get its chance here with the good tempo it looks to be on paper. And then also in for fourth, number 2, Venice Beach, the other Danny O'Brien runners and Lloyd Williams colours. It's first up here. It's coming off a massive spell though. It's had 490 days off the scene, but it has a good first up stats of three placings from 3 goes first up. So I'd say it could maybe run a cheeky race with Damien Oliver in the saddle. So recap the numbers for me in race number 1 on the card. I'm quite keen to play number 4, King of Leah Grants on top, ahead of number 5, Street Chic in for second. In for third, number 8, Sir Pippin. In for fourth, number 2, Venice Beach. Moving on to race number 2 on the card at Caulfield. It's a 1200 metre Kevin Hayes Stakes over the 1200 metres. And a really good race, this one. There's a few that have been in terrific form, got a lot of ones next to their name. And one of those is How Wilmatic, who was terrific last start. And Aquitane, they'll be 2 they'll be getting forward in the run. I'd say Acting and Enfilade might find the top. South Bank and Satin Socks won't be far off. So I could see a decent enough pace being set in this race. For me, look, I think Aquitane is going to get the better run, so I'm going to land with it on top. I just think it's better odds at the $9. And I think each way, it's the right way to go. Number 2, How Wilmatic in for second. It's been absolutely terrific. It's starting to get a picket fence next to its name. 3 starts for 3 wins. And last night, I had to overcome a little bit, and it was a decent enough win. But I just think here, I could just perhaps see a little bit of trouble here. I see those 2, like I mentioned, Acting and Enfilade, crossing over the field. Aquitane just sitting in behind on the 1-1, and then perhaps a Satin Socks or a South Bank pushing up. So you never know how Wilmatic, if it's not positive enough out of the gates, it could be 3 sets back on the fence. Just don't want to take that risk at the $2.70, so I'd rather go Aquitane on top ahead of it. Number 1, Acting in the third, think it's some good value. Comes in this first up fresh, and obviously we saw first preparation of its racing. Of its race day experience, it was terrific. Really did build some good form behind it, but then went into a Group 1, finished 5th behind Flitz. I mean, really getting some top line form there from Acting. It wouldn't surprise me if this goes out to the front, rolls along, and gets a few of them off the bit, and maybe leads all the way. So it's definitely a good each way chance. Number 1, Acting in the third. And then for fourth for me, number 6, South Bank, who looks to be a very smart type for Anthony Freeman. Resumes here, has barrier number 7. Mark Zara can sort of decide where he goes with that. There's a bit of speed drawn on the inside of it and also outside, so you could just follow him along and perhaps land in a really nice spot. So I'm going to have it in for fourth. But for me, look, I'm going to have number 3, Acatano, on top for James Cummings and Damian Lane. Just think it's going to get the perfect run in the race. Number 2, How Will Mannequin for second. In for third, number 1, Acting. And in for fourth, number 6, South Bank. Moving on to race number 3. It's the first of the Blue Diamond Preludes. It's for the fillies over the 1100 metres. Look at the speed map for this race. So I'd suggest that Fresh will come out off the inside barrier, try and be positive. Beautiful Night, Diamond-esque, and Let's Be Glam will be probably the speed horse of the race. But not a whole lot of speed in this, and as such, I think Fresh is going to be extremely hard to beat. The $2.90. I was on it last time out at Caulfield behind a Beautiful Night, and it was a sensational run. It was 3 wide, no cover. Still kept kicking on the race and really came home with a burst and nearly ran a Beautiful Night down. I thought it was a terrific performance, and this time around gets barrier 1, Tim Clark in the saddle. I think it's going to get the perfect run of the race. Whether it leads or if it sits just in behind the speed, with not a whole lot of tempo for a 1100 metre race that I could potentially see on the speed map, I think it's going to be too hard to beat. You have number 2, Montesero, is going to get back in the run, but as we saw, it's had a little bit of a fresh spell since then, but as we saw before that, it was 2 terrific runs. It was second behind RAF in a very strong form race at Flemington. Then it came out at Rosehill and won impressively up there at $2.10. I think it'll be hard to beat it once again. So I'm going to have it in for second. In for third, number 1, A Beautiful Night. As I mentioned, similar form lines to Fresh. I'm going to put Fresh on top. I've got to give A Beautiful Night a bit of a chance. It'll be up there on speed. I just think Fresh this time around gets the better run and can turn the tables on it. But A Beautiful Night's definitely within a chance of running a good race. And then in for fourth, number 10, Joyce. I think it can improve off its first run performance behind A Beautiful Night on that occasion. Just got a little bit far back in the field, but did come on late there. I think it could possibly do the same here. So recap the numbers for me. I'm going to have number 4, Fresh, on top, ahead of number 2, Montesera. In for third, number 1, A Beautiful Night. And in for fourth, number 10, Joyce. Moving on to race number 4, and it's the Colts and Geldings Blue Diamond Prelude over the 1100. Look at the speed map here. I'd say that Rulership would find the top. Hard Landing won't be far off as well. Then Jelani Ridge and Mysterious Art will probably not be far behind. I'd say Valaquento might get forward as well from barrier number 3 and be positive. And Tagaloa should be close to the speed as well. So a little bit of speed in this race, but I could see Rulership finding the top. And based on what I saw first up, I think it's going to be extremely hard to beat here. I was extremely impressed with that performance. Led all the way under Nash, and I think that it's going to be quite hard to beat here again. I think this horse got a lot of upside, and it's going to be pretty hard to beat. I can just see it dictating the terms from the front. Mark Zahra in the saddle, and be hard to run down. So I'm going to have it on top. Ahead of number 1, Hansetic, who has been by far the best 2-year-old so far for me that I've seen based off figures and also the runs on paper. But the key to this horse is it's going to be getting back, and it's in from barrier number 2. So it's going to need luck. So for me, 230 is just not the right price to take about it. Potentially, I could be looking at it again at the Blue Diamond if it draws a better barrier and get that bit more tempo in the race. But that's the other concern for me, that doesn't look to be a whole lot of tempo on paper in this race. So I'm going to have it in for second. In for third, number 2, Rathlin, who I thought was really goes around big odds here. It was superb going in its lead-up form coming into that Gold Coast Magic Millions run where it finished 6th on that occasion. Most of the leaders were the ones that stuck on there on that occasion at the Gold Coast. This horse, Rathlin, did come home pretty well, so I think that it can improve off of that. $19 odds is just a fraction silly in my opinion. And then in for fourth, number 6, Tagaloa, who Trent Busson and Natalie Young mentioned this horse. They decided not to take it to the Magic Millions and really set the target for the Blue Diamond. So I wouldn't be surprised if this horse comes out win first up here. $16 odds I think is very nice, and it's drawn to get a good run of the race. So recap the numbers for me. I think number 7, Rulership's the one to beat, ahead of number 1, Hansetic, as I mentioned. Looks to be the best 2-year-old, one of the best 2-year-olds going around at the moment, if not the best. But just that barrier 2, getting back, is going to be riding for luck. I just, off the back of it, what looks to be a slow tempo, I couldn't take it at the 230. In for third, number 2, Rathlin, and in for fourth, number 6, Tagaloa. As I mentioned, some good value there. Move on to race number 5, and it's the Highland Race Colours Autumn Stakes over the 1400 metres. Again, another nice race here. We've really got a massive card on Saturdays. A lot of good horses going around. Look at the speed map here. I'd say Lady Lupino will find the top at the Holy One. Banquo and Allied Ace will probably sit just in behind them, and Wedgetail usually likes to get forward in its runs. Not sure what it's going to do from outside barrier with all that speed coming out of the middle barriers. But for me, look, I'm going to land the microphone here. I think can forgive its first up run at the Valley Group 2 race. I did mention on that night I thought it was well under the odds on that occasion. it was mentioned that it perhaps wouldn't handle the Moonee Valley track, and as such, I do think that had a bit to it. It really did come, once it straightened up, it did hit the line quite well. So I think this race just looks much better suited to it. It's a massive drop in class. None of these are up to that sort of standard that we saw in the Australian stakes at Moonee Valley on that occasion. And I think he can return to form here and win well. Just looks to get a perfect run of the race from barrier number 2 with all that speed, early speed in the race. So I'm going to have it on top. Better number 6, Elliot Ace, who perhaps comes out of not very strong form. You look at Werribee and you see that it won by 2.3 lengths against Think I'm Dreaming. But, I mean, that run was superb. It was wide, 3 wide, no cover. It was just still way too good for him. This horse has got a lot up its sleeve. And we saw that last spring where we saw it beat Southern Moon and then, of course, finished 5th to Warning in the Derby on that occasion. So this horse definitely has a good chance here, second up, and I think it's going to get a decent enough run of the race. You can see it sitting in behind the speed and perhaps coming into it nicely. So I've got it in for second. In for third, I'm going to bank on Banquo to bounce back here, coming back to Caulfield. And up to a distance range that is very suitable to it now. To have 4 starts this distance range for 2 wins and a placing. I think it'll improve greatly off that first up run where it finished by an Alabama Express. It was pretty well tried in the market on that occasion, and its second up form's pretty good as well. So I can see a great improvement, especially with Damien Oliver in the saddle. So I've got him for third. Then in for fourth, look, if they leave it alone, number 2, the Holy One, I could see being a bit of a player out front with Linda Meach in the saddle. We know what she can do on leaders, so I'd suggest that if this horse gets a good enough time in the speed, might be hard to beat, especially if you can find the form that it had late in its preparation last prep. So recap the numbers for me. Number 1, Microphone on top for me, ahead of number 6, Allied Ace in for second. In for third, number 3, Banquo, who I think is a big player in the race. In for fourth, number 2, the Holy One. Move on to race number 6. It's the Schweppes Rubicon Stakes over 1,100 metres. Look at the speed map for this one. Lot of speed in this, I'd say. Runsell, Spirit off barrier 1. The Wild Planet's usually up towards the speed. Age of Chivalry, Anahid. Sartorial Splendor's got the wide barrier and it's going to have to work its way across. So really there's a lot of speed in this race, and I think it will set it up for the back markers. And as such, I'm going for number 3, All Too Royal here, who was terrific first up at Caulfield at the $4.50 and then beating Mystica on that occasion. Last time out it was third to Bold Star up the straight. I think coming back to the Caulfield track will suit it much better. I could see a much improved in form. I think $6.50 is a nice price. John McNeil in the saddle, he's absolutely flying at the moment, riding a lot of winners. So I think just the way the race sets up, it seems to really suit perfectly for All Too Royal to come from the back and get over the top of him. So I've got it on top, ahead of number 10, Anahud, who definitely has the best form coming into this. I mean, look, last preparation, third in the Group 1 behind Loving Gabby at, that of course was the Manikato Stakes at Moonee Valley. I mean, that's terrific form for a race like this. Prior to that, it won the Group 3 against Little Contra here at this track over the 1,200 metres. So this horse definitely has a great chance first up here. And I think just with all that speed in the race, not sure if I want to have it on top, but definitely could see that it's got the best form and probably is the best horse in this race. And only has to carry the 54 kilos, has a bit of a weight relief on the rest of these. So definitely a major player in the race. Number 5, Age of Chivalry, got a decent enough chance first up here as well. First up stats are quite good. And loves running at this track, never missed a place from 4 goes. So I definitely think it'll be a top 3 finish for Age of Chivalry, which, if you look at it now, $5, $1.95 the place. Very good each way play for me if you want to go down that path. And then number 4, Bold Star. I thought it was a terrific performance at Flemington to win up the straight on that occasion. This horse barely misses a place. So I think if you, again, take this horse at an each way basis, you can definitely give it a good chance. I've got it as a 4th pick, but I do think it wouldn't really surprise me if it runs a place either. But of course, you can't fit 4 into a top 3. So got to leave it in for 4th. But for me, number 3, All Too Royal on top, just for me, just really looks to suit well this race for it. It's going to come home from the back, I think. As long as the conditions forbid on the day, which I think the track will play fairly. We have seen Caulfield play quite fair so far in 2020, so I think we can bank on that. I'm going to have it on top, ahead of number 10, Anahid, like I mentioned, best form in the race, but just a little bit of a query first up with all that speed in the race. But number 5, Age of Chivalry in for second, and number 4, Bold Star in for 4th. Both good each way plays, in my opinion, if you want to take that path. Race number 7, it's the Carlian Cup over the 1,600 metres. The speed map for this one, again, a lot of these resuming with perhaps targets further down. So real process elimination, I think we can find a decent winner here. But I'd say Odeon and Miss Siska will be the only 2 leaders. I can't really see too many others finding the lead. It's like Guizo and McCleary are probably up there towards the speed, but I can see those two leading. I think they're the two to beat as well. I think number 10, Miss Siska, is the one to beat. I mean, it's coming off a short spell. Last time out, it was second to Southern France. That was, of course, the Sandown Cup on that occasion, behind Southern France, which was really good form. Prior to that, second to Ocean X. Prior to that, eighth behind Melody Bell. I mean, you look at some real top line form there for Miss Siska. She's a very nice horse and comes in here bottom of the weights. I think she's going to, like I said, be on speed just with Odeon. They're going to be able to dictate the terms, and it'll be too good for Odeon, in my opinion, first up here. So I'm going to have her on top. Ahead of number 2, Odeon, like I mentioned, will also be up on speed, give a great kick. He loves running at this track, so I think he'll run a good race once again. I think those two will just be extremely hard to beat, considering that they're going to be able to lead and dictate the terms. Number 5, Guizo, ever so consistent, loves this track and distance. 6 starts for 3 wins and 2 places at the track and distance, so very big each way play. I think $1.75 is a good play if you want to go the place on it. It's going to, can see it sitting just behind the speed of these two leaders, and perhaps will be right in the finish and perhaps challenge these two. I just think that the two leaders will be the hardest to beat, but Guizo's definitely got a great chance. And number 4, Lavendi, look, if we can find its form, obviously we saw very early on in its 3-year-old campaign, it can go very close to winning this. Was a little bit disappointing first up, last preparation. Obviously, coming off a long spell, 600 days off the scene. It's had a lot of issues, this horse, but if it can get itself right, I think it could be a decent play in a race like this, and maybe $16 just a bit over the odds, so I'm going to put in for 4th. But for me, number 10, Miss Siska, on top, ahead of number 2, Odeon. Like I mentioned, I think it'll be a leader-dominated race, this one. Number 5, Guizo in for 3rd, and in for 4th, number 4, Lavendi. Move on to race number 8 now, and it's the Ned CF4 Stakes, over 400 metres, Group 1 race. This is what we're really looking forward to. A fantastic field as well to contest it. Look at the speed map. I'd say Be Good to Your Mother and Hey Doc will find the lead. Scales of Justice and Alabama Express won't be far behind them. So not a whole lot of speed to in this race, and makes it really interesting to sort of look at the main players. Look, I've gone something a bit off speed. I think number 4, Fierce Impact, can win it here at nice odds at $9.50. I just think the value's there for this horse. It's proven first up. I mean, it's got 6 starts for a win and 3 placings, so I think at an each way basis it's got a great chance. I mean, first up last prep, it finished second at Colding. Colding was going in this race, so I'd argue it'd be one of the favourites. Then it went out and beat Night's Watch, and then 50 Stars at Caulfield and Flemington, respectively, in multiple Group 1 races there. So, for me, great form leading into this, and if it's right up to its best, I think $9.50 is a great each-way price. So I'm going to have it on top. Have number 2, Hey Doc, who I think can hold off Scales of Justice here. I thought... Look, he was beaten pretty fair and square on that occasion, but I thought he still stuck on pretty well. And I think $5.50 and $2 a place is better going each way than going $2.80 about the win on Scales of Justice, who I do have as my 3rd pick. Like I mentioned, will be up towards the speed, and it was really good last time out at Moonee Valley. Lindsay Smith has mentioned that the 400 is at suitable distance, so we could definitely see improvement coming here. But just like I mentioned, for me, $2.80, I'd rather go a little bit of value. There's just that little bit of a query there for me to put it on top in this sort of field. And then number 10, Be Good to Your Mother, I think has got a great chance here. Can improve off that first up performance at Moonee Valley. Don't think it handled the track there on that occasion. Of course, the Australian Stakes comes back to Caulfield, a track that it loves. It of course, won a Group 1 on this track last preparation, beating Age of Chivalry. That, of course, was the... it wasn't the Menzies Stakes, but look, it's got great second up stats. Three starts for 2 wins. Oakley Plate, I think that was, but Be Good to Your Mother. Apologies, as it isn't springing to my head straight away. But I think coming back to this track, we can see a much improved performance from it. But recap the numbers for me. Number 4, Fierce Impact on top here, and got a great chance first up. Head of number 2, Hey Doc, who, as I mentioned, is a great each-way play if you want to go that way. Number 3, Scales of Justice, definitely a winning chance. Just thought, I'd rather go these two that I mentioned on top of the each-way basis rather than Scales of Justice just for the win. And then in for 4th, number 10, Be Good to Your Mother. I'd see plenty of improvement rolling along in speed back at its favourite track. Finally, the last race of the card, the Balmain Stakes over 1,200 metres. Again, another lovely field to contest here. Look at the speed map. News Girl and Victor Salute. Angelic Spirit, Ravens Blaze will be up towards the speed. Spanish Reef usually likes to get forward, as well as the South Australian Visitor, enough swagger. So quite a lot of speed in this race here. And think it might set up nice for number 2, Benetwar. I think it's just massive odds here. A horse that really just hit a lot of good form last preparation. It comes off a bit of a spell. I just think coming into this here, 1200 metres might be short of its best distance range, but I can just see it running well here at this track at Caulfield. Damien Oliver in the saddle. The race just looks to pan perfectly for it. So I'm going to have it on top ahead of number 4, Fidelia, who she hasn't got the best first up stats, but she went around some very good races last preparation. And Caulfield isn't her favourite track. She said 4 starts are just the one placing at this track, but if there's any time that she's going to tick that off, it'll be this race here where there's a lot of speed in the race. She can come into it from the back. Number 9, Sylvia's Mother's a big player. I just think barrier 1 doesn't really suit her, but she might use that to get forward in the run. If she sits in just in behind the speed, she might catch some of these back markers lacking and give them something to run down. So I give her a great chance in for 3rd. And then in for 4th for me, the other one who I think's got an excellent chance, number 5, My Pendant, who was not too bad first up behind Bold Star. I think that form's going to hold up pretty well. Comes up to a more suitable distance range here and track it. So I really could have put it in my top 3. And I just think barrier 2, just, might need a little bit of luck from there. I'm just not 100% sure on it. So, but $10 is definitely great value. I could definitely make a play for any of those top 3 that I've put in. But I just think Benetwar is a real nice chance at $23. Just thought that was a bit of over. So I'm going to have it on top there. Number 4, Fidelia, in for 2nd. In for 3rd, number 9, the favourite, Sylvia's Mother. And in for 4th, number 5, My Pendant. So there's the... I'll go through my best bets and best value for the card at Caulfield. For me, I'm willing to make one of my best bets. Race number 3, the Blue Diamond Fillies Prelude. Number 4, Fresh. I think it's just going to go a great chance of winning this race. I'm quite confident to put it as one of my best bets at $2.90. So that's race number 3, number 4, Fresh. And then the other one that I want to make as my best bet is race number 5, number 1, Microphone at the $3.20. Best each way plays for me. I'm going to lean with the CF4 Stakes. Race 8, number 4, Fierce Impact at the $9.50. I think it's great each way value. So that's my first of my best values. Race 8, number 3, Fierce Impact. And the other one for me is in race number 1, number 4, King of Lear Grants at the $6 and $2.10 the play. I think it's great each way play first up here. So good luck if you're playing at Caulfield on Saturday. Of course, got this video up nice and early for you. The Randwick video will be a bit delayed. I'll have to do that later on today. So apologies for that. Just watch out for tomorrow. It should be uploaded either later tonight or early tomorrow morning. So keep an eye on for that one. But good luck if you're playing. Enjoy the fantastic racing. And hopefully you find plenty of winners to continue on into the Autumn Carnival.